Greetings from St. Augustine, Florida, to the students in the New Testament Writings in Context class here at Lagrange College. This is your instructor, Dr. Larry Asplund, coming to you at the beginning of a great but very, very quick 5-week intensive. Can you believe this summer class is going to come and go very quickly? But it is certainly my prayer that it will be a source of personal growth and encouragement to you during a very strange, very difficult season. It's such an honor and a privilege to be able to share this learning experience with you. So let me start by just kind of giving you some introductory reminders. First of all, there are some learning outcomes for this class. Number one, students will demonstrate creativity as they observe and formulate responses to early Christian tradition. And then number two, students will develop critical thinking about approaches to the earliest Christian tradition in its original context. And finally, number three, students will develop communication skills in undergraduate research, writing, and discussion. For our class, that means weekly reflection essays and discussion forums, which I know you will enjoy. So how do we get started in this class? Some of you already have dived into it and are well on your way. You know, when you log on to Connect and access our course, you will see the Connect system modules. And then there's some helps for you right away. There's the Lagrange College online learning tutorial. There is it's really a forum that's called Instructor's Announcements. That's where I will put all of my announcements, extra information for you, including this one. And then, of course, the course syllabus is my learning contract with you, so you want to be able to download that as quickly as you can and make sure you keep it in front of you. There are also some rubrics for your assignments. The rubrics are really an expression of my expectations when it comes to those assignments. They're not grading rubrics per se, but they are expressions of what I'm looking for in the fulfillment of those assignments. And then there, of course, is in the introduction of the course, a class water cooler is what I call it, where it's just a place for you to drop by and introduce yourself and greet the other students as they come in. It's so good to see you beginning to communicate with one another. You will discover that this class will be enjoyable for you and that you will do very, very well, to the extent that there is what we call a social presence. That is to say, there are relational connections that are happening as we learn together. And of course, I always enjoy being able to participate with you in that regard. Our assigned textbook for this class is The Writings of the New Testament by Luke Timothy Johnson, who is a professor up there at Emory in Atlanta. This is a great textbook. It's an academic textbook, which means it gives you, it's a college textbook. It gives you the academic background from that perspective, in that voice, to the New Testament writing. So it's not like it's a Bible study, but it's perfect for our purposes. And so I will be giving you reading assignments. Obviously, I'm not going to expect you to read the entire book, but I will be pulling out some key chapters as we go forward and giving you assignments in the text by Johnson. Course assignments that are going to be fairly consistent for you in all 5 weeks. First of all, I will ask you at the end of every week to report your readings in the textbook. And there is a report, a link that really serves as a survey, which just is asking you how much that you read, and you get to report that for credit. And then there will be New Testament readings. We'll jump in and begin to read some of the books of the New Testament. Those will start in week number 2. And once again, at the end of that week then, as will be true in the following weeks, you can jump in and access the link and report your reading for the week. Every week we'll also have a reflection essay. It's just your personal interaction with the readings for the week. And they will be a 500-word minimum, please. That will affect your grade. And so you're going to want to be able to engage in a written reflection. They're not research papers. Our particular program at Lagrange College does not have a required formatting, a guideline like MLA or whatever, but just well written is the idea in response to the rubric and in response to the prompt for the week. And then every week we'll also have a discussion forum, a discussion topic. Most classes, the students really probably enjoy this aspect of it more than any other aspect of the class, because it gives you a real opportunity to engage in a conversation with other members of the class regarding the topic for the week. And, in a kind of a calm sort of way, just to be able to share your ideas, your thoughts, your reflections. And so the initial post in that assignment will be due at the end of the day on Saturday. And then the requirement is to reply to at least 2 other posts by the end of the day on Tuesday. Then there will be an exam at the end of the course. It will be basically an open book, open note, take-home short answer essay exam that will give you a review opportunity of some of the key ideas in your reading in the Johnson text. And those are the assignments, so they will come and go very, very quickly. So welcome to week 1. I wanted to be able to jump in and just review quickly, as I will at the beginning of every week, what it is we want to accomplish in the coming week. The week 1 theme is Introduction to the New Testament Writings and the Christian Experience, which is just another introductory section in the textbook by Johnson. The week 1 learning objectives then are, number 1, to be familiar with the historical, political, philosophical, religious background of the New Testament writings, and then to reflect on the relationship between the first century context and our 21st century context. And I want us to always be able to apply some of the ideas as we're exploring the original context of the New Testament writings, also then to be able to think about, okay, what benefits could we gain from that understanding? How might we be able to apply? What conclusions might we draw from that study, and so forth? And then number 3, to be able to communicate observations and reflections on the first century background of the New Testament writings, and that will be in your essay and in your discussion for the week. So here is your assignment, week 1 assignment. We will jump into the Johnson text, and you will read the introduction and then just chapters 1, 2, and 6. There won't be, as I mentioned before, an assigned reading in the New Testament until we get to week number 2. Here is your reflection essay prompt for the week. This is your assignment, to reflect on the first century Greco-Roman context of the New Testament writings and how that might differ from our 21st century Western context. So what stood out in your mind as an important element from the Greco-Roman context? How might that affect your reading of the New Testament? And so, the New Testament was written in a larger context in terms of Greek culture, in terms of the Roman Empire, all of which were very, very relevant to them. And, as we look back at it, has relevance to us. And so think together, after having done the reading, think about your personal response to it, your interaction with it. Report a little bit, but also reflect. And remember, a minimum of 500 words. And then here is your discussion prompt for the week. The books of the New Testament and the rise of Christian faith must also be seen in a first century Jewish context. So the specific context for the New Testament, of course, is first century Judaism. And that also is extremely important to our understanding of those writings. So discuss the connections between New Testament writings and ancient Judaism that stood out in your mind as you read. And how do you think those connections were relevant? And then, of course, how might that affect your reading of the New Testament? So it's okay to be able to appreciate, that Jesus was Jewish, the 12 apostles were Jewish, all of the writers except for quite possibly Luke were Jewish. And so understanding that context within the larger context of Greek thought and the Roman Empire is very important. So we're kind of building a bridge now in this first week as we examine those original contexts And that will give us a tremendous advantage when we begin to read those specific books of the New Testament that we will be reading this term. Introduction to the New Testament is, it comes and goes real quickly. Some of you maybe grew up, in Sunday school, so you've had a lot of exposure to the New Testament, not necessarily from a more academic angle. So I think you will find it interesting to fill in some of the background ideas. And I think you will enjoy the fact that it will give you a clearer, fuller understanding of those New Testament writings. Others of you maybe did not grow up at all in a church context, or maybe in the context of another religious tradition. And so for you, this will be a great adventure as you be able to go forward and explore with the other members of the class the writings of the New Testament. So I'm greatly looking forward to it. I have to tell you, I love this class. I love being able to participate with you in this class. Please know that I am always here for you, committed to you as a student, committed to your learning and your success in this class. So never hesitate to let me know what I can do to serve you as we go forward in week 1. So God bless you, everybody. Just have a great week 1.